Alright, we've done everything right. We should be live with a new game, which is fun. I was kind of a little bit finished with Diablo 4. There we go. Connected into the chat instantly. Cool. Yeah, just loaded up a quick campaign to make sure that my webcam was in the right place and everything else. We're not going to be doing that one. We're going to be going from brand new. And probably a very explainy campaign, because this might be someone's first time even watching Total War Warhammer. So, we are going to play as the Greenskins, because they're nice and fun, but not like the most famous, probably, of all the Greenskins that we have currently. We're going to play as Azhag the Slaughterer. So, we get a starting army of stuff that we will see when we load into our first battle. But also, it's easier to be friends with Vampire Counts factions, and the Tomb Kings faction, Arkan the Black. When we summon additional armies later on, they will have a chance to contain wyverns, which is something that everyone else does not get. We have 20% more research rate because of the intelligence of the crown that Azhag wears. We're going to get some more money out of sacking, which is a lot of the money in the game. Or in our game, anyway. So my lord also has an extra 8 leadership aura for units around him, which means that we stay in the fight for longer without running away. Aura size is bigger as well, so we can catch more of our units from the center of the battle. We start off with a couple of spells. This one's good for keeping units on the battlefield, again, more leadership, but it also gives them magical attacks, which is good for piercing through enemies that have a high physical resist. We have Spirit Leech, which is a single target spell, which is a very gruesome looking purple hand that does massive amounts of damage to a single guy, as long as it's not resisted. But it does rather weak damage to units with lots of models in it. And instead of having a normal war, which is something that all the leaders get, which is a war cry, a call to battle, we get our own special one that we can't mouse over here. Either that or this is it. No, that's the regular war. So yeah, we get a special button because it's our faction's legendary lord.
Once we've killed everything, no one's to go looting until I say so.
You heard the man. He wants first pick of the loot. And that's kind of how orcs and goblins are in this game. So we are playing the Bone Rattlers, that's the name of my tribe, and this is their banner. Smash through enemies and settlements and increase your tribe's reputation level to receive faction-wide bonuses and unlock the Call to War button. That's this bar here. All the different things have different names, so when you're not doing too well and nobody knows your name, you have all sorts of red negatives that are horrible, including minus 10 leadership to all armies, undoing all those bonuses that we saw on the last screen and then some. But then, you know, as long as you're doing between 26 to 50, you have some positives, little tiny ones mostly. And then again, it improves when you are a mobster. And at the final, you are a warmonger. So some of those bonuses are great, including plus 10 leadership. So, you know, 20 more than if you're at negative 10. And this is the Call to War button, which allows us to attack a faction. We declare a war against them upon their capital, and we get some cool bonuses if we collect the whole thing, including a trophy. But it depends who you fight to what trophy you get, which is why it's blank at the moment. So you can use the Call to War button to temporarily swell your unit numbers and target a settlement as the war's prize to raise or occupy in return for rewards, as I just mentioned. During raiding and battles, we will get scrap to spend. So we can give it to unit equipment or some of the technologies on the technology tree. And we have a special stance that we can use to avoid areas that would slow us down on the map that are mountainous. As you can see here, we are allowed to jump in between the units, but that uses all of your movement in order to bypass a mountain. So it has its own balances to it. But we also have no stance, which is what you would regularly use to attack people. A marching stance where you cannot attack, and if anyone catches you while you're marching along, you have all sorts of horrible penalties in battle. A stance to ambush, which will trigger a certain type of ambush battle. And a raiding camp, which is like a more of an orc specific one. There are some other factions that get it, but you steal 3 scrap a turn. You steal money depending on how much money that enemy area is making. It allows you your regeneration, some extra defenses and leadership, and it allows you to recruit units, even while you're not in your own home turf, which is something that normally you'd have to be. So there's all sorts of fun things to this game. And the overall, this part, the campaign map, is turn-based. And, you know, you'll click to end your turn there, and everyone else will have their go, but the battles are real-time battles. So this is a little hero unit that can be independent of the army. Not many things can. This guy can, but we're gonna bring him along. We want to level him up and get him in there. And he had a bonus called Scouting, which is the same as, you know, if I've moused over it before, which means that any battles that we do with this guy in our army, we have a 10% extra chance to drop magical items, which is great, because magical items are very awesome. You have a lot of slots for magical items. Both the 5 for the weapon section, and then the 6 more as followers. You call them auxiliaries, but it's better to just say followers, because sometimes they are banners and things, but mostly it's an extra guy. So this was our lord that we selected at the beginning. Very awesome. And this was the hero that I just embedded. And he is a wizard, right? He's a wizard, but look at that weapon. This is why orcs are cool. And they have their own skill trees that are different. That's the hero one. And then the lord one is a bit more beefier. Lots of things to pick up. So let's get on with our first battle after we have a quick look through the troops. So these are orc brigands. These guys are more damage dealers than the tough guys. They do have a little bit of armor, but they're mostly for dealing damage. Try and get them in on the side or the backs of the enemy. These guys are your more rank and file troops. Regular orc boys. They can take the brunt of the enemy charge mostly, and then they're good fighters. But you know, it's best that these take the damage rather than your damage dealers. Got some fast little skirmishers with bows that deal poison. Poison cripples your enemy's stats in 5 different ways. And these guys are more for running away and taking pot shots rather than charging in there. We have the trolls, which have terrible leadership, so they must be guided in the combat. You can't put them in a situation where they're going to lose quickly, because once they start losing, they will run away. But they deal some massive damage, even more than our previous damage dealers that I showed. But there's 100 of these models in this unit, and there's only 16 in this. So, you know, they have positives and negatives. And then finally we have an artillery piece with a massive range of 400. If you check it out versus our regular archers, who only have 100, you can see that this is more of a distant unit. So we'll make a quick save, which will lag the client, but it's on purpose. And here we go.
You need not grow weary of battle, my lord. You do not need to oversee every skirmish in person. There are many gods of war on this world, and they will take an interest whether you do so or not.
So that's letting you know that if you do want to play the game this way, you can hit auto-resolve. But that's not for us. We're not like just gonna empire management. We're gonna play the battles as well. So here we are in a battle. We were in a snowy peaks, and the battle is in a snowy peaks. Tiny little city over there that we're not going to be fighting in. It's just to show that there was one nearby. Massive dwarven structures over here.